friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse.
Hi, welcome to the DC Marvel Battlecast, where we discuss all things DC and Marvel related and debate who would win in versus battle matchups. I'm Marvelous Joe.
And I'm his twin brother, Johnny DC.
The song that you heard at the beginning was Heathens by 21 Pilots from the Suicide Squad album.
Which is not out yet.
It's not out yet. It's set for an August 5th release. It's available now, though, for pre-order on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you buy or stream music.
I don't think it's available for pre-order on Spotify, just iTunes.
That's probably true. Well, you can listen to it on Apple Music, which is where I got it from as well. So we'll be discussing the two music videos that came out last week are for Suicide Squad. Will be some of the things that we're talking about this week. We'll also be discussing some Sony Spider-Man Homecoming news, as well as some casting news from the Doctor Strange movie. And we'll also be going into the set visit reports for Justice League that came out last week.
Huge Justice League news.
Yeah. And finally, we'll be capping that off with a review of the ultimate cut of the Batman v Superman movie.
We literally just finished watching it.
Yeah, we just finished watching 3 years. Or 3 years.
3 years.
It felt like 3 years, but it was only 3 hours.
Did it?
It was a long movie. But we'll get into that later. Let's. I just want to start off by saying that you can listen to us on iTunes, or you can find us at search for us on iTunes using just search for DC Marvel Battlecast and find us there. You can find us on SoundCloud. You can find us on YouTube. Yeah. We're also on Stitcher. I saw that we've been getting some listeners from Stitcher, so we're on there now.
Cool.
And if you want to reach out to us,
follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter. We have lots of news there.
I post news there all the time.
Yeah, all Marvel and DC movie related news,
and comic related news as well. Just like anything Marvel and DC, I'm throwing up on Twitter.
Yeah, our Twitter handle is at DC Marvel Battle, or you can email us at dcmarvelbattlecast@gmail.com.
There's one thing we forgot to do in our last podcast episode. Someone actually did reach out to us at our email. It was Endbrook2001. Mm-hmm. And he sent us like a year's supply of Battlecast suggestions. And they were great suggestions too, like all of them.
Yeah, a lot of really good ones in there.
Actually our last matchup, Aquaman versus Namor, which again, Aquaman won, still excited about that, was one of his suggestions. And it totally made sense. It was a great one.
Yeah. So thank you for doing that. And Brooke, sorry for forgetting to mention you last time.
Yeah, we were in a rush last time.
Yeah. One other mistake that we made last episode, Jonathan, if you want to fess up to this. I think people already know if they listened.
Yeah. So if you listened to our last podcast, and I was like, oh yeah, it's a slow news week. It's the calm before the storm for Comic-Con, which is next week. I'm an idiot. I thought Comic-Con was the last week of June. Turns out it's the last week of July.
Right.
So,
and I remember when you said that. We don't do a whole lot of editing, but I remember when you said that, I kind of raised one of my eyebrows. Like, is that true? I don't know. Well, we posted it anyway.
Like the day after, I went to the news site because I was at work and I was like, yeah, Comic-Con is this week, and then I saw the date and my heart just sank. And I was like, oh shit, people are gonna think I have no idea what I'm talking about, which apparently I don't. So why are you even listening?
Because I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
and I guess the orchestra.
Apparently.
Okay. All right, so let's get into the news. We had just 2 Suicide Squad music videos.
Well, 3. There's going to be 3 music videos total, apparently, which is interesting because, I can't remember the last time a film had a music video tie-in. It's been a while for sure since I've seen that. Yeah,
soundtracks kind of fell by the wayside in the mid 2000s, and they haven't really done it since. This is since I can remember for the past decade, a song that has come out.
I can't remember the last memorable one.
I think soundtracks may be trying to come back because of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
I know they're awesome.
I was thinking the same
Awesome
thing.
Mix was like one of the best-selling records.
But those like weren't new songs. Those were like all old songs.
Right,
So
right.
for like, there's no music video tie-in for Guardians of the Galaxy. I definitely think like everyone's saying that Suicide Squad is sort of like mimicking the Guardians of the Galaxy marketing, just because of like they're using like these really fun songs in the trailers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But the track listing for Suicide Squad, it's all current, and like some of the songs that they did use in the trailers, like Bohemian Rhapsody, like Ballroom Blitz, I think they're all being redone. I forget.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is Will Smith doing one?
No, he should be though. Why isn't he?
I don't know. That would be fantastic. Like he did for Wild Wild West and Men in Black.
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know. He would probably be nervous. Like I don't know. Like his star has kind of fallen a little bit. So I imagine that like if he's showing that he goes all in for this movie and doing a song and everything like that, and the movie ends up not doing as well, then he's probably afraid of falling even farther.
Yeah.
But
maybe. I think this is. I'm glad he's doing this film. I think this is like established franchise film or a character is good for his career right now. I think. I'm glad he's playing a DC superhero of sorts, anti-hero.
Deadshot is fairly well known, I think.
Yeah, I think he was in Arkham City, the Batman game, which was huge. It was huge. He was. I think he was in Arkham Origins as well.
Yeah. I feel like if you know DC currently, like if you're a fan of DC in general, then you probably are aware of Deadshot. So
yeah, he was in the Arrow TV show
games,
as well.
Cartoons, the TV show. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good for Will Smith.
It would be cool if Will Smith and Jared Leto teamed up for a song because Jared Leto is also
That's right. 30 Seconds to Mars.
a musician. Yeah. So they can it could be a rock song and then.
Just have Will Smith rap in it.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be pretty much like
come break me down. It's the Suicide Squad. Wicked.
bury me.
I don't know. Well, if Will Smith did his own song, what song do you think he would sample? Since he samples, like for all of his songs. It would have to be something
I'm
like
bad at that. I don't know.
like disco era, kind of like Kool and the Gang or something like. Get down on it, Suicide Squad. Get down on it, Suicide Squad.
Come break me. Yeah, they go right into that.
It'll be a nice mashup.
The second music video that the Suicide Squad did.
What was the first?
Well, Heathens, the one we listened to.
Yeah, Heathens.
At the beginning.
What did you think
this
of
track.
that song?
I liked that. I liked it more than shit. Now I can remember.
Sucker for Pain.
Sucker for Pain. There we go. And how could I forget that? Because that hook is like really catchy.
It is. It's
like in an annoying way.
Yeah, Sucker for Pain. I don't like the song. It's catchy, not in a good way. The verses are not that great.
I remember you telling me like how much you hated the song, and then like 20 minutes later, I heard you whistling it. You're like, which
yeah.
I don't know how well that picked up in the microphone, but.
I guess Imagine. I feel like if you're an Imagine Dragons fan, I don't know if you'll like the song. And I think even if you're like a Lil Wayne fan, I don't know if you'll like the song because the verses are kind of weak. The chorus is kind of weak. I don't know. Overall,
here's the thing. Like, I'm not really like it's not my genre.
Hip-hop.
Like hip hop is not my genre. Like I play bass guitar. I'm definitely more of like an alternative rock kind of guy. So I my preference is definitely for Heathens, for 21 Pilots.
Yeah. So all you rap and hip hop listeners, well, I consider myself. I don't listen to hardcore rap. I listen to hip hop. Maybe my opinion is valid.
I saw a lot of people online actually saying that, and again it was probably just their taste in music, but they said that they liked Sucker for Pain a lot more than Heathens.
Really?
Yeah.
Man,
there's a
Wiz Khalifa's verse was so weak. It was barely a verse.
Yeah.
I really liked the Heathen song by 21 Pilots. That was a decent music video as well.
Yeah.
I just liked. I don't know. It was just a better song to me. Like
there was some footage in it, but nothing really new, and nothing really like there was like some slightly new parts,
yeah.
but nothing like really to be like, oh, new footage from the music video. Nothing like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of 21 Pilots, that they've been, well, they're not new, but they're kind of new to me because I was just introduced to them through my wife, who was a big fan of the Stressed Out song. And then I heard this one, I was like, oh, hey, it's those guys. So I thought it was pretty good. I think the Skrillex song, though, is supposed to have original footage because I remember seeing that Jared Leto was filming a part for it.
Yeah, and that's how we know that this Suicide Squad has 3 music videos for it, which again is surprising because not many movies even have one. But Jared Leto did film some scenes for the music video. I don't know if it's I guess you would call it original footage because it's definitely not film footage.
Oh,
so yeah.
It's not in the movie.
It's Skrillex with Rick Ross. The song is called Purple Lamborghini.
What do you think the music video is going to be like?
I have no idea. I've never seen any of Skrillex's music videos. I suck at music, dude. I have no idea.
I've seen a few of his.
I would not be able to name a single Skrillex song.
Are you a fan of dubstep?
No, not really. No.
No. It's okay.
I don't. It's just like the distortion of it. I guess I'm just surprised. Like music has gone in that direction.
You sound really old right now.
I sound really old right now.
I hope it's just like a really cool just like the Joker acting all gangster in his purple Lamborghini, and maybe like some hose in the back, and he's got his grill, and like he's like making it rain at the strip club or something, like in the champagne.
Yeah, I don't think he actually sings a part in the film. Yeah, I have no idea.
The Joker?
I have no idea what he's gonna be doing. Is he gonna be dancing? Are we gonna see the Joker dance to a dubstep song?
I hope so.
That's gonna be weird.
I just want the Joker to show up in the club.
Holla in the club.
Then it's gonna be in slow motion and everything. That'll be awesome.
I don't know.
We'll see how that comes out. We'll talk about that in the podcast after that music video comes out.
Once it comes out.
I think that's all the news on those.
Well, we haven't been.
Do you have anything else?
So for like Sucker for Pain, so we talked a little bit about the Heathens music video a little bit. It was interesting, a little bit new footage. What did you think of the Sucker for Pain music video?
The Sucker for Pain music video?
Who sings it? There's Wiz Khalifa, Lil
Wayne's in there.
Imagine Dragons. It features the ex-ambassadors.
Ty Dolla $ign.
I have no idea who that is.
I don't know who Logic or Ty Dolla $ign.
I don't know who those are. Yeah. No.
I think I just said dollar sign.
Dollar.
It's dollar sign.
Dollar sign.
But I know I recognize. I mean, I recognized who I didn't recognize in the music video. So it was the first 2 verses. Their verses were better, I think, than Lil Wayne's and Wiz Khalifa's.
I agree.
Who are the 2 rappers that I did recognize.
I agree.
So that's kind of surprising.
It was. I mean, so like, yeah, there wasn't. I don't think there was any Suicide Squad footage. There was just. Was there? Jeez, I don't even remember now. It's been a while.
No.
But like they definitely had like set pieces that looked like they were actually like from the film.
Oh, they did show snippets of the movie in that music video? Yes,
they did.
Yes, in both the Heathens and Sucker for Pain music videos, they did.
Okay.
So
I'm looking forward to the album. Like I was mentioning earlier, like some of the songs they're using in the trailers, like Bohemian Rhapsody, they're actually like those songs aren't appearing on the album in their original form. They're actually being covered. So like Panic at the Disco is doing Bohemian Rhapsody.
I don't know how I feel about that. We'll see how it turns out.
I saw like a live concert version where they did it, and he doesn't try and sound like Freddie Mercury. He makes it his own. I hate that phrase, but yeah, he kind of does. I'm looking forward to it. It looks like it's a good, like, varied, broad spectrum kind of track listing. So yeah.
All right, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it sells. We'll see if soundtracks make a comeback. Okay, so moving on to Spider-Man news then. We'll start off with the rumor. You know how we mentioned a few weeks ago that Sony's planning on producing a Venom spin-off movie. It's going to be the Venom character, but it's not going to be related to the Marvel Cinematic
Worst idea
Universe.
ever.
Yeah, it's just a horrible idea. Well, they're doing it again.
But it's not as bad. Silver Sable.
Yeah, Silver Sable.
They're doing it with Silver Sable.
Silver Sable.
She's not as well known.
It's just a rumor. That's all the information that we have. It was according to Meet the Movie Press, the rap editor Jeff Snyder. He said that they're planning on making this movie. I don't know if it'll be tied into the Marvel Universe or into maybe their own Spider-Verse, like where maybe this Venom spinoff movie will happen. I can't imagine that Marvel would be happy with that, considering that they are committed to making a Black Widow movie in a few years.
Is she like Black Widow?
She okay. So
I'm not
full
too familiar with
disclosure.
her.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the character as well. I think I only have like one comic with her in it.
Well, I
I've seen her in
like-
a few video games that I've had, and she's been in a cartoon.
I remember her from a trading card, and like that's it.
A trading card.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, the most I'm familiar with her is from video games and the cartoon. But she's very Black Widow-esque. She's like a European Black Widow. Well, actually, Black Widow is European.
She is European.
But she has silver hair and a silver costume.
She does have powers.
So she's shiny, and her name is alliterative. I don't know if I just made up that word. Alliteration.
Alliterate, yeah.
So that's pretty much. I don't know what the appeal is like there. I don't have too much interest in it personally, being a Marvel fan, but still not being too familiar with the character. I can't imagine that, like I said, I guess I've never had much interest in the Silver Sable because she's always struck me as just kind of redundant because we have Black Widow. Mm-hmm. And if they make a Silver Surfer movie,
Silver Sable
movie,
I wish they made a Silver Surfer movie.
I don't see how it would be too different from a Black Widow movie. So
that's true.
I know Marvel has no say in whether or not Sony makes a Silver Sable movie because they certainly have the right to. They
just have creative control over.
They can get pretty pissed, and maybe like releasing this rumor is a good way for Sony to get leverage. Like let us use more of your Marvel characters in our movies. Otherwise, we're going to make this movie that will be identical to your Black Widow movie.
They already have Iron Man in their movie. I don't necessarily.
Maybe they want Hulk or something. I don't know, or maybe. A bad guy. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see.
Or more like control over like another like Spider-Verse character or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, you never know. So we'll see how that goes. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope the Venom movie doesn't happen either. So.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't really care too much about the Silver Sable movie because we already know it's not going to be tied into Spider-Man because Marvel wouldn't allow that to happen, right? I mean,
right.
And at least Silver Sable doesn't wear a black Spider-Man costume. You know, you can't do.
It could be standalone.
You can't do like a standalone Venom movie because so much of Venom's like imagery is so tied into Spider-Man. So
yeah, and his history.
Yeah.
So we'll see. There's other Spider-Man news. 2 more cast members have joined. We have I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Salinas Leyva.
Yeah.
She is a physics teacher, apparently. And I think most people know her if they have seen Orange is the New Black. She plays one of the inmates there. Not huge news, but...
There's a ton of, like, small Spider-Man casting news. I don't know why. Like, for some reason, like, every small, like, actors I'm not even familiar with, actors that have never had big roles... There's been news stories about every little single piece of casting for this film. I have no idea why.
I don't know. Anyway, Hannibal Buress.
That's a big name.
He's a
Hannibal
comedian.
Buress.
Yeah, Buress?
Buress.
I thought it was Buress.
I've heard it pronounced Buress.
Which is what I just said.
Because you threw me off.
Hannibal
Buress.
I've seen his roasts on Comedy Central and stuff, and some of his stand-up. I think it's pretty sure it's Buress.
I think that's the biggest, like the next to Donald Glover. I forget who else was cast at the same time. Martin Green, something. This is the biggest name to come out of that news. It's another comedian.
Mm-hmm. I'd be willing to bet that Hannibal Buress is playing...
Buress.
Whatever. Is playing Robbie Robertson. Because I thought maybe Donald Glover would be playing that role.
Who's Robbie Robertson?
You don't know who Robbie Robertson is?
No.
He's like... he's not the editor. So there's J. Jonah Jameson. What is his job?
Oh yeah,
Robbie Robertson, his like head editor or something.
Yeah, that's right. He was in the Sam Raimi films.
Yeah,
totally forgot. I don't know the actor's name.
So
yeah,
my theory is that they're gonna have the Daily Bugle in the movie. Obviously, you don't want to look like you're trying to compete with, oh god,
Perry White.
No.
What?
What's the actor's name that played J. Jonah Jameson? He's playing...
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons. Why couldn't I remember that? God. You don't want to compete with him, I don't think, or show that you're trying to compete with him. So I think by maybe making J. Jonah Jameson more of the straight guy and then making Robbie Robertson the comedian, I think Hannibal Buress
know.
would make a fantastic Robbie Robertson.
I think J.K. Simmons. I think J. Jonah Jameson will still be a character in the film. I don't think.
I didn't say he wasn't going to be a character in the
Well,
film.
no, but I don't think he's gonna be a straight guy either. You can't do that to J. Jonah Jameson. He's too much of
Yeah, you can.
He has too much character to like make him just like
As a grump, not as a comedian. It was J.K. Simmons was the one that kind of took that character and made him, a huge goofball. So I think if they go like the standard approach with this, and then but you want to keep things light and have some levity in there because J. Jonah Jameson is such a bully that having Robert Robertson be a comedian, I think makes sense.
out of everyone who's been cast so far, do you think any of those people could be J. Jonah Jameson?
No, I don't think so.
The only one I was thinking of, Martin Starr. That's a really young J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, I don't think that would work. He has to be a little bit older than that.
He's really dry.
Yeah. So, one last bit of Spider-Man news. The animated film that Sony is producing now has a director. It's Bob Persichetti. Bob Persichetti, I think is his name. I'm probably butchering that. He was the head of story for Puss in Boots. He has no known directing credits, as far as I was able to tell.
Really?
Yeah, but he's going to be the director for this film.
When you said Puss in Boots, I thought he was the director for that.
No, I guess he wasn't even the writer for Puss in Boots. He was the head of story. I'm not sure what that means.
The heck?
I don't know.
All right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, as I think I've said before, that with directors you never know, because I always go back to the reference of the Russo brothers having only directed Community and Yumi and Dupree before taking on the Winter Soldier. So,
But they've actually done some directing,
That's true. He might be fine. You never know. I still wish it would have been Phil Lord and Christopher Miller.
I think like nowadays, like animation, it's not as big of a deal because so much of it is probably like pre-vised, like done ahead of time in a pre-visualization. That I imagine there's not much say that the director. I mean, at the end of the day, director has final say over everything. But I bet so many of this movie has already been like mapped out that. It's not like he has to like worry about his actors on set or anything and get the performance from them because there is no real performance.
Or the angles or something like that. Yeah,
right.
That's true.
So maybe it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Also, I don't know. I didn't really know what to think about it since, the guy's kind of a no-name. But that's that news. We'll see how that turns out.
I liked Puss in Boots. He didn't.
I never saw Puss in Boots.
It was good.
I only saw Shrek. I saw Shrek 2. And I thought it was fine in that, but I never saw the standalone Puss in Boots movie.
It was good. It was funny.
Was it?
I thought it was better than like Shrek 3. Or was there a Shrek 4?
There was a Shrek 4. It was like Shrek Forever After or something.
Yeah, no.
I don't know.
Garbage.
Shrek 3 was kind of garbage too, but but Puss in Boots was one of the better parts of Shrek 3.
And the movie was good.
Yeah. Rachel McAdams, moving on to Doctor Strange news. Rachel McAdams, it has been confirmed that she is playing Christine Palmer, a.k.a. the Night Nurse, who in the comics would mend superheroes who were injured in battle.
Yeah.
And
that's what you suspected.
That's what we suspected. But Rosario Dawson plays such a similar role in the Daredevil TV show. I'm wondering how you can have two night nurses.
Why not just cast Rosario Dawson?
Yeah, why not just cast Rosario Dawson? I'm thinking maybe that she's going to be Christine Palmer, but she's not going to have the same function that she did in the comics because that function has been given to Rosario Dawson's character.
So you think she's just a love interest?
I think she's just a love interest nurse. And I think she'll, help try to heal Doctor Strange, I think, his hands and stuff. But I don't know if she's, going to show up in other movies or anything like that or in the Netflix shows.
I remember when they were first, when they announced that she had been cast, and they didn't announce who she was cast as, but, she was very hesitant, it seemed, to take on the role. There was a lot of, back and forth.
I can't imagine that it's a huge role.
No. She came across as sort of like she even said, like, I don't want to come across as a comic snob, but, like, I'd rather do something like Sandman so I guess, I don't know. If you already have the Night Nurse character in your Marvel Netflix series, for me, it just emphasizes the disconnect between the Netflix series and the movies. Because you already have that character.
Yeah, it would have been nice if Rosario Dawson's character's name was Christine Palmer, I think. And then just have this nurse be just some random nurse or something. I don't know. But I remember when I heard that she was cast, I was hoping that she would be Clea. But since that's not happening, we'll see how this goes. I can imagine
For all we know, they could be pulling a Batman Begins. This movie takes so much, at least visual inspiration from, like, the Christopher Nolan Batman films, from what we could see from the trailers, that they could be doing, like, a Ducard and Ra's al Ghul. It's like, oh, her name is... What is her name again? Christine
Palmer.
Christine Palmer.
So
really, she's Clea.
Oh, so this is the theory? Like she foresaw that Doctor Strange was going to be the person that he was going to be, so she, like, came to this dimension to take care of him to ensure that he fulfilled his destiny?
I'm going to be honest here. I don't even know who Clea is, so...
She is his love interest from another dimension.
Okay.
Magical dimension.
Sure. No, it's a terrible theory. It's probably not going to be like anything like that, but...
Well, eventually you're going to have Clea in a Doctor Strange movie, whether it's the sequel or whatever, so... I don't know. I imagine that this part that Rachel McAdams has might be a small part in...
So you're saying she dies?
No, I'm not saying she dies, but she might not show up in a sequel if they're going to introduce Clea. So maybe your theory is the best way they could do that.
I honestly just think, like, they had to ring in some kind of love interest, and he's a doctor, so they're like, what female doctors are there in the Marvel Universe?
Or female nurses.
She's a nurse? She's not a doctor?
Yeah, she's called Night Nurse.
That's sexist. I think she's a doctor in the film. I think she's a surgeon.
They might make her that. I don't know.
That's sexist.
I don't know what they might do. And
can it be Night Doctor? Could it Marvel? Had it be Night Nurse?
The comic character is called Night Nurse. So, anyway, Mads Mikkelsen's character is Case. Why do they keep throwing all these really hard, difficult names at us? Caecilius? How would you pronounce that?
I thought it was like Caecilius or something weird like that.
Caecilius, who in the comic was a disciple of Baron Mordo.
A rogue disciple, or he went rogue.
Yeah, he went rogue. Well, Baron Mordo himself went rogue. So, so they're both evil. Since I don't know if we'll see Baron Mordo turn to the dark side until the end of the film. Maybe. I'm guessing that he won't necessarily, unless it turns out like Baron Mordo is pulling the strings all along on whatever the antagonist's plan is or whatever. I don't think that's the way they're going to do it in this film. I think they just needed some kind of like apprentice character, or not apprentice, but just another sorcerer that studies with the Ancient One and the magicians or whatever. Mm-hmm. I still think that it's Dormammu that's kind of manipulating him and trying to come through, maybe.
Yeah, just
because he's obviously a vessel for something that's trying to burst through. Cause
definitely, for sure, from his eyes. Yeah, I mean his. Okay, so we're announcing this as news, but really it comes from toy packaging. It was Mini-Mates. Was it Mini-Mates? I think it was.
Or Lego? I can't remember.
I think it was Mini-Mates. Anyway, but like, so that's like these box sets of paired Doctor Strange figures. That's what they gave the name for Mads Mikkelsen's character. But, I mean, Mini-Mates have been wrong before. I can't remember if it was...
Not with names, though. Not with character names.
True.
They'll sometimes have sets that portray a scene that may or may not happen in the movie. Yeah,
I think there was like one with Lex Luthor, like in battle armor or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
And there was one for Ant-Man where they had the Michael Douglas. There were two Ant-Man. They had Michael Douglas costume Ant-Man.
Oh,
like
no way. Yeah.
Really? And I remember the Iron Man Lego set had the Mandarin in some kind of missile shooting vehicle kind of thing. And we all know that didn't happen. So is that it for the, I guess, the other non-Justice League news? I think is that everything? Yeah, I think we're into the Justice League news now.
Okay.
I remember hearing last a couple weeks ago that there was going to be a big Justice League announcement, like this huge, massive reveal or news or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think I'm still waiting for that big
What?
announcement. I don't
What?
know. I feel
There
like
was a ton of news to come out.
It was a lot of like small news, like a logo and some set reports and everything like that. But it's not like it wasn't like a huge reveal.
Well,
or
how
anything.
early? What were you expecting? Like a trailer? How early do you get like set reports released?
I was expecting. What was
For
I
something
expecting?
like that, for that
I
film.
was expecting like costume reveals, things like that. And there
they
was
did costume descriptions, and there's like been fan art that has been like people have done based on those descriptions. So, I mean,
yeah, but like I remember like when Marvel typically one of the first things that they reveal like official from the studio as production is underway is the concept art. Like I remember when they revealed like the Guardians of the Galaxy concept art and the Avengers concept art and everything. That was really cool to see.
Yeah.
I was hoping for something like that. We did get a little bit of concept art, but it was I don't know how revealing it actually was.
did we get any concept art? I'm trying to
Yeah,
think.
the costumes. It's your cover photo on your.
Oh,
Facebook.
that's right. Durr.
There.
No, I mean, because like yeah, the concept art
photo up, actually.
we did get was pretty reminiscent of like what we got when Kevin Smith did that television special, and I think really that's like anything like that concept art you wanted to see was revealed a long time ago, so even earlier. So I mean, I'm not surprised they didn't release more of that because we got so much of that already. Plus, I mean, the 3 like snippets of footage that Wonder Woman looks at on her computer in BVS, those are essentially like 3 mini like I don't know concept trailers in a way.
Teasers.
Yeah.
All right. So okay. So what was the news that we got?
Okay, so let's start off with the logo.
Okay. Hate it.
Really?
Next.
It's super different. So the logo is like it's like really flat, just white. Justice League. There's a star like embedded in the word justice, which is kind of cool. Very different from Man of Steel and BVS because both of those had sort of the same title treatment. It was just like this embossed kind of like metallic, shiny kind of lettering. Mm-hmm. This is very different from that.
Yeah.
So I think already they're like trying to, essentially literally rebrand the DC extended universe, which I'm not even sure if they're still calling it the extended universe. The DC films, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
They're rebranding the DC films.
I would like to see a non-flat version of that logo, and I'm sure we will.
Yeah, I'm sure. I can't picture that though. I mean,
No?
it's like really like the lettering is like really tall and white. It wouldn't suit itself like to the same embossing that the previous like type treatment was that was applied to that.
I think you could 3D letters make them.
It would have to be like really like I don't know, like it would have to have like perspective on it. I think
Yeah, they could
because
be
it's so like
thick.
boxy in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious too to see it. So.
Do you think the logo will change? Because Marvel
No.
logos they change at least once from the initial reveal.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never noticed that. Interesting.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. Except for maybe the Avengers. I think the Avengers ones stayed put.
This kind of reminds me of like the Avengers.
Does it?
Yeah, in a way.
The logo?
Yeah, the Justice
see
League
it.
logo. It's very like comic book cover I guess in a way. But I guess all the Marvel titles have been that way in a way.
Yeah. They base the movie logos off of the treatment that the comic book covers get.
Yeah.
Except for like Guardians of the Galaxy. But like the original Guardians of the Galaxy movie logo it looked a lot like the comic, and then they ended up changing it to more of a geometric kind of.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. This one is not from the comics,
No, it's
but
not.
it definitely looks comic booky.
Yeah.
So
It might be part of the new. It might be in the comics now that we have the Rebirth, DC Rebirth, and they relaunched the title.
maybe I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. Just keep like a cohesive brand.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Maybe, but the DC films have never really been concerned about that. So I don't know. Anyway, so in addition to the logo, we learned that the film was not going to be split into 2 parts.
That was the news item that I thought was maybe the biggest news to come out of all of this. I wanted to get your impression of that. What do you think of that? because it was going to be Justice League Part 1 and Justice League Part 2. Now it's just Justice League. And if it does well, they'll do a sequel.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Do you think it has anything to do with... I want to know specifically, does it have anything to do with their hesitancy to continue the DC Films universe?
I don't think it has anything to do with their hesitancy to do it. I think it has everything to do with their hesitancy to do it with Zack Snyder, maybe, and maybe Chris Terrio, because he's writing this film, Zack Snyder's directing. Mm-hmm. I think they still want to make DC Comics movies, but they want to see if they're giving Zack Snyder essentially a second chance.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because the first thing I thought of was, maybe they're not so eager to commit to these multiple films. I think they might be taking it by a case-by-case basis to see if this franchise even has legs.
You know, honestly, I think they kind of jumped the gun in a way, announcing 2 films. I think it's the same thing with, like, you know, they recently announced that Avengers is not going to be a 2-part film. It's just like...
They're going to film it together.
Well, the Infinity War I'm talking about is it's two separate stories. I mean, it's not one story split into 2 parts like I don't know, like Kill Bill or something like that. It's more of just like a natural sequel, like Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2.
I doubt that. I still think... I don't know. I can't say. I still think the overarching theme... or the overarching narrative between the two is going to be Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet. And maybe the first one is him acquiring the gems, and then the second film is going to be him having the gems. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I definitely think that while this is definitely not going to be like one story told in 2 different movies, I definitely think that the second Justice League film is still... I think they're still going to make it, and I think it's still going to be a continuation of the story that they establish in Justice League, in the same way that Justice League will be a continuation of what they established in BVS. Mm-hmm. So I think Steppenwolf will be the villain for this one.
They confirmed that.
I don't think that they confirmed that during the set visit, and that I think the next one. I think this will all lead up into a Darkseid. So I'm a little disappointed that Darkseid is not going to be the main villain for this first Justice League film,
because you were hoping that he would show up before Thanos did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that sucks big time.
What do you think of Steppenwolf?
I mean, yeah, why not? He
just seems like Darkseid light. I feel like if you're going to go with an apocalyptic character like that, then when Darkseid does finally show up, it's going to feel very familiar.
I don't think it's just going to be Steppenwolf. I think he's leading the way for Darkseid. I think you're also going to have like Granny Goodness and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be very... they're revealing his supporting cast and revealing how like crazy and brutal and stuff they are before Darkseid. So
then you almost have to think that the Justice League sequel will be a part 2, because it's gonna continue the same story from Justice League Part 1 if you have all these apocalypse and bad guys in Part 1, and then you have the King of Apocalypse in Part 2, or the Ruler or whatever.
Well, yeah. So I mean, but
that sounds like a Part 1 and a Part 2 to me. It's gonna rehash. I don't know. I think it's a bad idea. I don't think any apocalyptic person. I think if you're gonna have apocalyptic characters in the movies, throw Darkseid in there.
So you think like all of Apocalypse, everyone from Apocalypse is sort of like one character?
I think it's one story. Yes. I don't think you can. I think if you're gonna break Apocalypse into multiple stories. The planet of Apocalypse.
Yeah, we're not talking about the X-Men villain here.
I don't know if that's confusing. But if you're going to break it up into multiple stories, then you need a Justice League Part 1 and a Justice League Part 2. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I
don't know if I'm being clear.
So I understand what you're saying, but I also think that the whole fourth world, Jack Kirby's fourth world, is big enough for 2 movies, and they don't necessarily need to be separated by like a Part 1 and Part 2.
Don't you think they'll feel too familiar?
In the same way that like Thanos is in Guardians of the Galaxy, but he plays a fairly large part in that. But
no, he doesn't. It's fairly small.
I don't know.
See, with Thanos, we've just been getting hints, but we haven't like I guess the Chitauri. They didn't feel like what Thanos is going to feel like.
No, because we saw them before him. But in a way, that's sort of like what this is. I feel like. Like, these are the paradigms, which we've already seen on film, you know?
The only way I think that will work is if if Steppenwolf and Granny Goodness and all the supporting Apocalypse characters, if they come to Earth in the first Justice League movie, and then in the sequel they're off planet. Otherwise, it's gonna feel like too much of the same.
And that could work. I mean, why not?
There we go. I just solved it.
There you go. Green Lantern takes everyone off planet.
There you go. Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, why not? That was always kind of the rumor that Green Lantern would pop up at the end of Justice League and then set up like this, off-world sort of adventure. So
That'd be cool.
yeah.
There's news about a prologue.
Yeah, so the Justice League film was apparently, they're comparing it a lot to like the prologue in the Lord of the Rings films.
Yeah.
How like you see like Sauron lose the ring and stuff like that. So the prologue involves Zeus though, and apparently there's like concept art of Zeus. I guess there's some kind of like, I think, war with Apocalypse on Earth like thousands of years ago.
War with Darkseid, you mean? Or with the war with the planet
War
Apocalypse?
with the planet Apocalypse. What
Dang
the
it.
heck?
It doesn't help that
Apocalypse with a K.
It doesn't help that visually Darkseid and the X-Men's Apocalypse look kind of similar. Like they could be distant cousins.
Oh, so you're saying Apocalypse is a ripoff of Darkseid? Okay, yeah, I agree. Especially look-wise. Yeah, okay, I agree.
That's not what I said.
I'm pretty sure that's what you said. So in the prologue, I guess, there was a war, and I guess Earth managed to secure 3 mother boxes. So if you're not familiar with mother boxes, have we mentioned this in the podcast before, what a mother box is?
No.
It's like a supercomputer. So
It was in the Batman vs Superman movie.
yeah,
You saw
it's
it
what
in the-
created Cyborg's body.
Yeah, you saw it in the Cyborg scene.
It's essentially like, imagine like if the gods had a computer. This is that. It could almost do anything, honestly. But like one of the most interesting thing probably is that it does is open these things called boom tubes, and they're essentially just like these
Gateways
yeah,
to
like
anywhere else in
wormholes.
space. Wormholes.
Wormholes, yeah. So that's interesting to see how that'll play off. But again, they're really valuable because they're super powerful. So there's 3 of them on Earth. The prologue explains this. One of them goes to the Atlanteans, one of them goes to the Amazons, and one of them stays with mankind.
And is now Cyborg's body.
Yeah, and it's essentially now Cyborg's body, essentially, yeah. Or it made his body. It may not be, it's probably not made of the mother box, but it made his body for sure.
Okay.
So I think that's interesting. They're the MacGuffins of the story.
Doesn't it kind of sound like the Cosmic Cube with the Avengers? Like, I wish they wouldn't have gone with the mother boxes, because it's going to be very familiar to people. Like, you had the Allspark in the Transformers movie. You had the Tesseract.
The Allspark was a cube, wasn't it?
Yeah, you had the Tesseract, and now you have the mother boxes, and it's like, stop putting all these cube MacGuffins.
Yeah, but in this movie, there's 3 of them.
I don't know, that's stupid. Stop
Yeah,
putting
no,
cube MacGuffins in movies. I like when I heard that, like the whole thing is gonna be centered around the mother boxes. I was like, well, shit, do something else.
Like what?
Like anything else.
No, I mean, like, the mother boxes are, like, I don't want to say they're as powerful as the Infinity Gauntlet, but, like, if you need a MacGuffin, what bigger MacGuffin could you have in the DC universe other than a mother box?
That leads up to Darkseid? Nothing.
Exactly. So, I'm
It's just so repetitive.
I guess, but also cool at the same time.
We'll see.
Really
we'll
cool.
see.
So yes, I guess in the film, Steppenwolf is the villain, and he's looking for the mother boxes. And we got a sneak peek of that at the very end of
The ultimate cut.
the ultimate cut for Batman v Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's cool. Apparently in the story, Batman and Wonder Woman are the 2 that assemble the Justice League.
I think that was already implied by the end of Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, it was.
So that's not really news.
Not really, but it's just kind of confirmed. The people we know that who they assemble is Cyborg. At least we know is Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman. I also heard a rumor that Black Canary was in this film. So
Oh, really?
yeah, Amazons are in charge of one mother box, Atlanteans, and the other. But I guess like Black Canary's ancestors are the ones that helped protect the third.
That sounds weird. That sounds just like Amazons.
But no, it's mankind.
And which one is the one that Silas Stone has?
It would be, I guess
Cyborg.
it would be the one that Black Canary's ancestors helped get.
So, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that's just a rumor. I don't know. That news didn't come out of the whole set report or whatever. Mm-hmm. But so the cyborg suit is going to be CG. Mm-hmm. We learned more about the Flash suit. Like his first suit is very like.
It's gonna be tech based. It's not gonna be made out of Speed Force.
It's made from like stolen NASA technology and like wires.
It sounds like the Speed Force is gonna be powering the tech suit as opposed to some kind of magical substance that makes you run fast and also can form a red outfit.
Yeah, which I guess is
DC Comics are dumb.
I guess it's more digestible for a film audience. I don't know. Who knows? It's apparently just like his initial suit gets upgraded by Batman, I guess, or Batman gives him like a new suit altogether. The actual suit sounded pretty interesting in a way.
We have the concept art.
Well, I guess it's made of. I don't know if that's the Batman version or if that's his self-made one. My guess is it's the Batman one. Yeah. So his initial costume, I guess, is going to be like made of like ceramic plating held together with like wires. So when he runs, like the wires like glow and like spark, I guess. Like there's a current running through them. Mm-hmm. Sounds interesting.
I think it's a brilliant take on the Flash costume. I really like the idea of it being a tech outfit that the Speed Force powers. And the Speed Force is like this... It's not a force, it's like an energy kind of thing.
I would still prefer if it was an energy suit, honestly. But I'm just going to see... This sounds interesting, so I'm just going to see what we get.
Do you want him to have a ring... That when like it opens, it's like a cereal box ring, and then the suit comes out, and then he puts it on.
I never liked that. I always liked the Wally West version where he had like Jeff Johns like early in his run like gave him like a flash scar across his chest, like as he's running, like the scar just like glows and like his suit wraps around him from that. Like
that was weird too.
What?
Well,
how do you want it, Joseph? How does Marvelous Joe want the Flash suit to be?
I think it makes most sense to have it a tech suit that is powered by the Speed Force. And the Speed Force is represented by like this like electric lightning force kind of thing. I think that makes sense.
It sounds like that's what they're doing.
Because otherwise, Speed Force just seems like magic. Like in the comics, like it's some kind of weird scar that kind of like just like it oozes out a costume.
Well, no, like in the comics,
chest burster.
In that comics, that scar was done by a guy who had like this special knife, and he was trying to tap into. Wally West was the Flash at the time into the Speed Force, so he was like cutting into his connection to the Speed Force. Anyway, that's not what is happening here. They're doing a tech suit. Batman's upgrading it. Aquaman is also going to have multiple suits apparently. So he has the
more toys.
Yeah, exactly. He has the one, with like no shirt and just like the one armored arm that we saw in like the first promotional image we got of him.
So like 90s Aquaman.
Yeah, like 90s Aquaman. But I guess he's also going to have an Atlantean armor suit,
which might look more like today's.
Exactly. Actually, we've seen a picture of it. Do you remember that photo of Zack Snyder and Jason Momoa broing it out?
Yeah.
In the background, you see the Flash's suit, you see Aquaman's suit, or at least an Atlantean armor suit, and I guess Batman's going to have like a new tech suit as well, a tactical suit. I think that's what they're calling it, and it's a suit that helps him, just keep up with the other heroes around him in a way, allowing him to go up against people like Darkseid. So I think it makes sense for the character.
Sure.
And more toys. So more toys for me to buy,
including vehicle toys.
Yes, vehicle. There's 2 new vehicles. One of them is called the Flying Fox
for Batman. 2 new Batman vehicles.
Well, they're for the Justice League. The Flying Fox is for the Justice League. Uh-huh. So that's sort of like the Justice League's like helicarrier in a way. It's just this huge giant carrier ship. It could hold the Batmobile. It's like it has 3 stories within it.
Just like a portable Batcave.
Yeah.
Why do they call it the Flying Fox?
I almost think of it as like the Watchtower. Why do they call it the Flying Fox?
Yes.
Because there's a bat called the Flying Fox. It's the largest bat in the world. It's called the Flying Fox. And
Is the smallest fox in the world called a walking bat?
the largest bat actually looks like a dog.
Yeah, I think I've seen pictures of it.
And those things are kind of freaky. I mean, they're cute, but also freaky.
What is the Nightcrawler vehicle?
So the Nightcrawler vehicle is more, I don't want to say all-terrain vehicle because that's an ATV, but it essentially allows him to go places where they don't have roads, or like I heard it's supposedly supposed to be used like in this tunnel sequence where like the tunnel gets destroyed, so Batman still has to get through the tunnel. So I guess he has this Batmobile, and I don't know if it's the current Batmobile he has that just sort of like sprouts something like legs.
Huh.
Or if it's like a separate vehicle altogether.
Sounds like the Spider-Mobile.
Yeah, in a way. And it makes sense for the character because the Batmobile is really limited to areas where there are roads. So like if you go to, I don't know, if anything happens, if there's a roadblock in the way, it's like, oh, sorry guys, got to sit this one out. Batmobile can't make it through, So it's kind of cool that they're coming up with new tech ways to allow Batman to be more involved, I guess.
Cool.
And it's really setting him up to be like Iron Man in a way. Like he's upgrading other people's suits. He's creating like all this new technology and stuff like that. And I think it makes sense. I'm looking forward to it. It was a little initially like when I heard spider vehicle, because that's how it was initially described when I read it. I was like, what? Uh-huh. But I think it makes sense if you think of it as he allows him to go places where there are no roads.
Have you ever seen a bat walk? Like a real bat? Not in real life, but on TV or something.
Oh, yeah. The flying foxes crawl through trees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look weird when they do it.
Yeah.
I hope it looks like that.
That would be interesting. But apparently it looks like a spider.
Lame.
I mean, I don't know if it has 4 legs or 6 legs or whatever. I hope it just has 4. Or, yeah.
It should just have 4 because you don't want to go into the insect territory.
But apparently, like, it's like the legs going to the ground, like, it creates, like, these, like, little mini craters. It's like, it's going to be, like, a pretty, like, how do I describe it? Like, tough vehicle, I guess.
Cool.
So.
Cool.
And then from the set visits, we also got the descriptions of 2 scenes.
Uh-huh.
So the first one is, have you read these? Do you know anything about them? So the first one is Barry Allen comes home to his apartment, and Bruce Wayne is sitting in there.
Because he knows who he is. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bruce Wayne shows him the video footage that we see in Batman v Superman, and Barry Allen's like, oh, that's handsome looking Jewish boy, but it's not me. I don't drink milk or whatever. So then Batman was like, well, what is this? There's his prototype suit like in the middle of the apartment, and Ezra Miller, Barry Allen, is like, oh, I'm into figure skating, and Batman's like, this looks like it was stolen technology from NASA. It's like made of ceramic plating and stuff like that. And Ezra Miller was like, I'm really into really hardcore figure skating. So then,
is that funny?
I heard, well, the people on the set seem to think so. They seem to really, really like Ezra Miller as the Flash. But so yeah, Batman, he throws a batarang at Ezra Miller.
Bruce Wayne or Batman?
Bruce Wayne. This is Bruce Wayne. This is not Batman.
So he gives away his secret identity by throwing the batarang?
So he throws the batarang at Ezra Miller. And Ezra Miller, like, just using his speed, like, it slows down time and, like, just easily picks it out of the air. You see this look of realization on his face, and he goes, you're Batman. And Bruce Wayne's like, and you're fast. And he explains to him, like, he's creating a team. He starts to explain that he's creating a team of superpowered individuals, and Barry Allen just interrupts him. He's like, whatever you're going to say, I'm in. And, like, Bruce Wayne, he looks, like, shocked and, like happy. You see him smile. Mm-hmm. And Ezra Miller's like, I just need friends. So then he looks at the batarang, and he's like, can I keep this? So then that was that scene. And then the other scene that they saw, this one was actually filmed. It was J.K. Simmons' first day of shooting. They're on the GCPD roof, I guess. And so you have Wonder Woman, Batman, Flash, and I can't remember if Aquaman was there in the description, but they're on the roof. They get onto the roof, and Commissioner Gordon is sort of like talking to them about these 8 missing scientists. And then I guess Cyborg shows up, and like Wonder Woman's like, she smiles, she's happy to see him. I guess like she was trying to recruit him, and finally he's like joining up with them or something. Mm-hmm. And Cyborg explains to them that now there's 9 missing scientists because his father, Silas Stone, was like just kidnapped or something like that. Yeah. So like they're like putting pieces together, and like they discover that like there must be like some kind of parademon nest nearby or something like that. So Commissioner Gordon is like talking with them, and he turns around and like all of them are gone except for the Flash. And the Flash is just there, and he like looks around. He's like, "Did they just leave in the middle of our conversation?" He was like, "That's rude." And then he leaves. And that's the scene. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I see. That's funny. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So yeah, those were the scenes. I'm really happy with just hearing about them. It's any people who are looking for, I guess, I don't know, a more Marvel approach. It sounds like they're getting pretty close to it. It sounds like the Ezra Miller's The Flash character is going to make this film DC films a lot more accessible for people looking for that type of superhero film. Mm-hmm. So
good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I think it'll be later. I mean, well, obviously it's going to be lighter because we've had direct quotes from them saying this movie is going to be lighter.
Well, the big thing from set, having conversations with Ben Affleck and Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder, or they keep saying that this film is going to be very different in tone from Batman v Superman. It's going to be a lot more fun. They kept using the word fun, mm-hmm. And that just thinking about the themes of Batman v Superman, which was, like death and like deconstruction, essentially. And just, Justice League has a natural inclination to be more fun just because the themes are more of, like building a team and, resurrection. They sort of hinted at the fact that we'll see Superman later on in the film. I'm starting to question whether or not I was accurate in assuming that Superman would be coming back sort of like a bad guy. He may not be.
I hope he doesn't.
I think he'll be coming back like at this really like victorious, triumphant moment.
Yeah, I think we've seen enough of Dark Superman. I think it's time to see Superman as Superman
with a spit curl.
No, not with a spit curl, but maybe smiling every once in a while. Being because he has a very positive outlook and attitude and things like that. Those are things we haven't really seen. It's been a lot of like mopey and questioning and things like that. So
yeah. So I mean, other than that, the only news that really came out from the set report was that we know who Willem Dafoe is playing. He's playing Volko,
an Atlantean,
Atlantean advisor and scientist. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Overall, do you think any of this was bad news? Was any of this news negative to you?
The only thing that had me like hesitating was the Nightcrawler vehicle.
Oh, really? Okay.
But that's, I mean, I want that toy now, and to get another toy.
Yeah, I think it's all good news.
What about you?
The whole breaking the Justice League down, or not breaking it up into 2 parts anymore, and just having the one part, that was the thing that I questioned. Everything else seems fine. Mm-hmm. I think the best news, the most that I agreed with was the Flash's suit being a tech suit and it being powered by the Speed Force. Otherwise, and the Mother Boxes thing, like I said, it's too not derivative, but repetitive.
I think we're going to see them do some interesting things. Yeah. Things that, the Cosmic Cube and the Allspark haven't done. So
when does this film come out next year?
Next year. Oh, when next year?
When next year? You should know this.
I don't. I don't know. And for all we know, the release date may change. Maybe, or maybe it might be too soon for it to change.
Comes out.
I know Wonder Woman comes out before
November
it.
17th.
Okay,
2017.
that's a good release date. That's a good release date.
Yeah. There you go. All right, let's go into the Batman vs Superman Ultimate Cut review.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the theme? What are we gonna do for the theme for this review?
The theme.
Turn. Yeah. The review theme that we usually do.
The theme song. Oh crap! No, I don't. Does this need one? I don't know. All right. Okay. I'm just gonna try and hum the Batman v Superman theme.
Okay.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. It just keeps doing that.
I was gonna start singing. Anyway, no, that worked. All right. That's fine. All right, so Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition review. Now we're not gonna go too much into the movie.
We went really long into it in our
episode 6. I think.
Was it 6?
Yeah.
I thought it was earlier.
Nope, it was 6. Or was it 4?
Or was it 4? Right, exactly.
I don't remember. But one of those old reviews, we go really in-depth to the movie. We talk about it for like 2 hours. Yeah. So we're not going to go as in-depth. This is not going to be as long a review. We're mainly going to be discussing...
like the added scenes.
Scenes.
What that adds to the film.
Right, exactly. So, I guess, what do you think made it rated R? I think one of the biggest questions that I had walking away after watching the film was, what made it rated R? There was like a few blood splatters in the opening Africa scene and in the Batman warehouse fight.
In the nightmare sequence, it looks like they actually like added blood splatters.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Ben Affleck's ass shows up at one point.
There is Ben Affleck's ass. There's nudity in the film, and
just Ben Affleck's ass though.
Well, you got to see more of Amy Adams too. Because even in that sequence, like you didn't see Clark Kent take off his shirt. In this one, he does. In this one, it implies that he's pretty much reaching down there. And you do see more nudity because I remember that scene from the first one when I was watching this one for the first time because I've seen it twice already. The Ultimate Edition. I noticed that it was a longer scene, and I absolutely paused it and zoomed in. And she was wearing pasties, but I think they were removed, like digitally, removed.
No, okay, so
it was just a nippleless breast.
That's creepy. You paused it and zoomed in.
I had to see if there was nudity, Joseph. Marvelous Joe in the film.
For the purposes of this review?
For the purposes of the podcast. This is what I do to ensure the quality of
the accuracy of the information.
Of our information that we divulge. There is nudity in this film. There's bat ass. And there's a nippleless breast from Amy Adams. Did you pause the film
on Ben Affleck's bat ass and then zoom in?
No, I didn't go that far in depth.
It was worse than a Schumacher film. I was like I was just watching the film and he was taking a shower and I'm like, is that Batman's ass? What the heck?
So yeah, it was.
So now we know where Batman poops from.
Oh gosh. What the heck?
Anyway.
All right.
The Bat Pooper. We saw the Bat Pooper.
So there was, but like nudity wasn't described. Like if you look at the actual MPAA like reasoning for why it's rated R, it was just more violence essentially. Intense
And it was like fake CGI violence. All the blood in the movie obviously was added in post.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know, the lighting is off and the spray is a little bit too squirt gunny, kind of. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Maybe. I guess. I don't know.
I don't think it needed.
There wasn't much of it.
I don't think it needed to be rated R. They could have got away with PG-13 with this.
Honestly, I think if you would have removed the bat ass scene, I think it would have been PG-13.
Really?
Even then, you see stuff like that. I guess you don't.
You can see man ass in PG-13 movies.
Well, yeah. No, but I was gonna say
you can see
television commercials, like soap commercials or something. But I guess you don't. Yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Anyway, I guess the point of this first part, it kind of went to creepy territory. But the point is, it didn't need to be rated R. I don't see the point of that.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe not.
I still think it has something to do with Deadpool, but
I do think this is the version they should have released in theaters.
It absolutely yes.
And if you had to like not add the extra like blood splatters or the bat ass to get it to PG-13, they should have done it.
Right.
I mean, and so like I definitely just what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say basically the question is okay. So getting past the rated R thing. Overall question, what everybody wants to know.
Is this a better version?
Is this a better version to the theatrical cut?
Absolutely.
Is it worth seeing?
Absolutely.
I have to agree. I think if you have only seen the theatrical version of this film, you have not really seen this film.
This actually made me like the theatrical version like a lot less.
Yeah, like
I'll probably never watch that version again.
No.
Like there's no need.
So I think if you listen to our original review, the biggest gripe that I had with the film was how it did not feel connected. Like they were jumping around all over the place. There were no transitions, no interconnecting threads. This movie fixes all of that.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a normal movie. Like I don't know what the hell they were trying to do with the first movie. We're like jumping around from scene to scene. And you kind of had to figure out where you were in the context of the overall narrative.
And it didn't help that there were dream sequences, like
right.
we mentioned in the last one. When you're doing that, you can't also have dream sequences because then you don't know what's a dream,
Right. And this film still had the dream sequences.
Yeah.
But you knew that they were dream sequences because they felt different, because there was no transition into them, and we already known that Batman had dreamt the first part, the very first opening scene of the film. Yeah.
It's much more digestible.
It's so much more digestible. That being said,
there's still flaws.
There is still a little bit that they could have cut out. I think if you've ever seen Return of the King, the third Lord of the Rings movie, fantastic movie. But I know everybody for the last half hour of that film was like, when is this movie going to end? This movie has like 7 endings. This movie, to a lesser extent, also does that. Where like
I didn't feel that way.
The film is so long. I almost felt like it felt like a complete film once they save Martha. Like they could have gotten rid of the whole abomination.
Jerk. Dang it.
The whole Doomsday thing, and it would have felt like a good, solid Batman vs Superman film. So like I felt like it should have been the end of the movie there, and then all of a sudden you have this whole other act of the movie where you have Doomsday, and that felt long. And then after you deal with the whole death of Superman thing, and I felt like there were like 6 different endings there. So it just went on and on and on. And I was ready for the film to be over about 15 minutes before it actually ended. That is the only gripe I have with this film. I think everything else is an improvement.
But if you would have seen this version in theaters, do you think you would have felt the same way, or is it just because you had seen those scenes before in the theatrical version and knew it was coming, and you just like wanted to get through it? What do you think?
That's a good question.
Because I disagree. I don't actually think this film in a way feels shorter than the theatrical version, and I think it's just because of there's more like connective tissue and there's more of an interesting story. You're more invested in characters. So yeah,
that's a good question. I don't know. I can't answer that because I don't have a time machine. But I could see. I believe you when you say that it felt shorter than the first one.
Yeah,
it might be that I already knew.
What the end
scenes were, and I was waiting for them to get through it.
Right, exactly. That's what I think.
But I think like the last episode when you're like, well, what do you want the extra footage to be? And I said I want there to be more
Africa,
more clarification in the Africa scene and more clarification in their motivations. And they had both of those things, like those extra scenes where like Clark Kent visits the apartment place and talks to the old guy, and the old guy tells him about Batman, and the scene where he talks. He does like a lot of reporting in this film. He's like actually like a real journalist, and he's talking to the lady of the guy who was bat-branded and killed in prison. With that turns out to be like a setup too by Lex Luthor, and everything. It's so good. Like they get so manipulated.
I love how much. This because like if you take a look at the theatrical version, and you could make a strong case that Batman is the protagonist of that film, just because he's sort of like he gets the most screen time, like the narrative arc and like the cathartic moment sort of happens with him, or like at the end where he doesn't brand Lex Luthor and stuff like that. In this film, though, you are way more invested in Clark Kent, not more than Batman, but more than you were in the theatrical version.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
his story, it does such a great service to that character. This new version,
yeah.
So
They did a disservice to Clark Kent and Superman in the theatrical cut.
and that like makes me like angry now. It's
like
what,
fire somebody.
Seriously,
This should have been the cut that went to theaters.
What you should have done, like in our last review, you cut out all of the dream sequences.
Mm-hmm.
Cut those out. You don't need them, and add in all that Clark Kent footage. And this is like a much better film.
Yeah.
Like I would give this like 4.5 stars.
If they cut out the dream sequences?
Yeah,
I agree. I think that every single dream sequence is unnecessary, except for maybe the first one. Or the flashback.
The opening.
Yeah.
To the.
But
to
I know the Parademons dream sequence. I know some people are fans of that. Some people absolutely hate it. I like the look of the Parademons and stuff. Yeah,
but
I think it's just unnecessary, especially.
Totally, it's so different.
Maybe it's supposed to set up the whole part where Ben Affleck says, or Bruce Wayne says, when he's asked what makes you think we'll need a fight, and he says just a feeling.
Yeah, but then again, like I was watching that again, I thought the same thing. But I was thinking, when Lex Luthor is warning them about, like something is coming, that could be the justification for Batman saying, we need to assemble a team.
Especially since the soldiers that captured Lex Luthor probably wrote reports saying that they saw this hologram thing, alien thing. Yeah. So he could base his hunch that something's coming off of that easily. Get rid of the dream sequence.
Get rid of the nightmare sequence, exactly. And just to go back to Clark Kent, like my favorite aspect of this Ultimate Edition version, which it really should be called the director's cut.
Yeah. My favorite scenes with Clark Kent were in this version.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, like I love the like there's a parallel between Clark Kent's new scenes and Superman's like struggle. Like
absolutely.
Because like the media is like focusing on Superman, and it's like that added TV sequence where he is like making breakfast, and that woman specifically asks like, how does he choose who lives and who dies? But like the media completely ignores Batman. Like Perry White, like he's even telling Clark Kent, like even in the theatrical version, he's like, don't focus on Batman, no one cares.
Right.
But it's like just his like frustration with like, just because he's like this public figure and Batman exists in like shadows, he's this urban legend, people are like being hypocrites. Like they don't care about Batman, they care all about him,
right.
And he's choosing who lives and who dies. But like it almost seems like he's like frustrated with the fact that like Batman is playing judge, jury, and executioner, or he believes he's an executioner.
Yeah, and when you see him speak to like the people who are affected by Batman, like his victims and things like that, or the people who live in Gotham and how they perceive him, and so he kind of grows to like empathize with them, like they kind of view him as a boogeyman kind of thing, and he doesn't like it. He thinks that he's the Batman's picking on the poor, and that he's like an elitist or whatever, and, and so it was cool to learn that.
Yeah, and it also was cool to learn that like he was totally being played by Lex Luthor.
Yeah, when he got sent the photos, like in the theatrical cut. Lex sent Bruce Wayne those returned checks.
Like the checks,
saying like you let your
family
die and things like that. But Superman also got sent those too, and it was of the guy who was killed in prison with the Bat brand,
which Lex Luthor orchestrated.
That whole Bat brand thing, getting killed in prison, that was Lex Luthor orchestrated. They were both such puns. Yeah, and like I after seeing Civil War, I was like, Baron Zemo is such a better manipulator than Lex Luthor. Like, these guys barely had reasons to fight each other, Superman and Batman, in the theatrical cut. But in this version, sure, they could have, they could have had a conversation and would have been able to sort things out. Yeah. But I guess you could say the same thing about Civil War. Well,
like, even in this version, though, like, the woman who says, like, Batman doesn't, words don't affect him. It does a fist. Yeah. So like even like that gives more justification for why Superman was just like, oh, fuck this, and just shoves him.
Yeah, because he's pissed at him.
Yeah.
More pissed in this version than he was.
You feel more justified in the fact that he like just wanted to force Batman
that he would take it to
stand
that
down.
level.
Yeah, exactly.
He views him as very dangerous.
Yeah. So I mean, Lex Luthor, in addition to Clark Kent, was also done like a great service with this film because you see more of his mastermind at work. You learn like really early on that he knows who Clark Kent and Batman are way early on.
Yes. I still am not a fan of Jesse Eisenberg's portrayal of the character, but I have to say that the character was also done a disservice in the theatrical cut. I think we learn much more about. It's just a better story. This theatrical cut, you learn about everybody's
extended
motivations.
cut.
Yeah, and the Lois Lane thing. I remember saying I don't want to see more of Lois's thing, but it was absolutely necessary in showing exactly how far this guy's gone and what his plan was, and how it has all unfolded so brilliantly, actually. Yeah. And I would say his plan was equal to Baron Zemo's in Civil War, the way it played out in this Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, and in a way, like even Baron Zemo's, like I was thinking about this.
There's still less holes to be made and less conveniences to be
made. I think the biggest hole for Baron Zemo's plan was like it was like perfect timing with the Sokovian Accords because the Sokovian Accords play into his plan, but he had no way of planning that because he wasn't involved with Crossbones or what is his name? Crossbone?
Yeah.
His whole like attack at the beginning. But anyway, going back to Lex Luthor. No, I forgot what I was gonna say. I went on a tangent.
Plot holes or something? There were less holes in this story just because in the Lex Luthor's plan in the theatrical cut, there were so many holes in the story you didn't know where their holes could possibly exist. I guess. In this version, you learn that like he hired the woman to say those things about Superman. You learn that he hired people to kill people with the Bat brand in prison. Yeah. You learn that he had the KG Beast guy burn the bodies in Africa.
That was like I didn't think that was going to affect the story that much. Like when I heard like about the Africa sequence and stuff, but it did. It did. They did such a great like. And Lois Lane comes out. She like didn't see anything. She sees the burned bodies. So like it makes sense that she comes home like sort of like semi-disturbed about everything that happened. Right. It was great.
Right.
And then like all of this builds up like for me like one of the biggest moments, like even probably bigger than the Batman v Superman or the Batman Superman fight, was the Capitol building scene now. Because there's so many more layers of context and the whole like tension build up during that whole like moment in the film. So much more powerful. Yeah. And you actually get to see Superman save people. Right. Like at the end.
And it was cool to see that Senator Finch was already at that point onto Lex Luthor. She already found through another source what he was up to. Yeah. She didn't just like figure it out in the span of Granny's peach tea thing.
Right. And it makes it like
there was more missing
from
that Capitol hearing scene. There was more missing from that than there was the Africa scene. Like
almost
that thing had so much more to offer to the film that they should have left in.
And the whole line where she says like, "And this is a day for truth," like that line actually makes sense.
It takes on a different context. She says, "This is a day for truth," and you think that in context that she's talking about.
You had to make up your own context in the theatrical version.
She was. It seemed like she was against Superman, but in this cut, you realize that at that point, that character is on Superman's side because she knows the truth. Yeah, and she's gonna actually exonerate him. Right. So
reveal, Lex Luthor is
and which is why she had to die. It wasn't just because she denied his permit; it was because she was going to expose him. Yeah. Such a good film.
So there was.
Not a perfect film. It's
not perfect.
Still like I said, it still has issues. The dream sequences. If you had issue with the tone, if you then
right,
the tone doesn't change in this.
There were a lot of people I know who had issue with the tone for the first one. And again, if you did, the film is not going to. Your opinion of the film is not going to change.
But if you had issue with the story, with the editing, things like that, this edition will change that.
Yeah. And even with all like a full spectrum like story enhancement, even with Batman, who was given the greatest service in the theatrical version. Like in this one, they add more to it. You get more of the relationship with Alfred. Mm-hmm. You get and at the end, like I think the biggest thing that they should not have cut out is the fact that
in the theatrical cut,
that he's sending Lex Luthor to Arkham.
Yeah.
That
That's fantastic.
blew my mind.
Because Lex was like, I mean, I'm not even, they won't even let me stand trial.
Yeah, he's like happy about it. He's like smiling and giggling.
And then he was like, well, we have places here that they can treat the insane. And you're not going to those, you're going to Arkham.
Yeah, and you just see his face.
Yeah.
It's like, oh. And I wonder if, because there's always like a rumor that Lex Luthor was going to be in Suicide Squad. Uh-huh. But like now, like it makes more sense for him to like at least like have some kind of presence in that film because he's going to be in Arkham Asylum. And if you only see the theatrical version, you may be left wondering if you see Suicide, like why is Lex Luthor here? Mm-hmm. But it's going to make sense if you see this extended cut.
Yes.
By the way, spoilers.
All of our reviews are spoilers.
True.
We'll put it down in the episode description.
We should have said right from the get-go, like if you plan on seeing it, definitely see it.
I don't think us giving away these spoilers because you already know how the film ends and everything like that. I don't think that what we're talking about ruins the film. If
Superman dies,
if you're listening,
big spoiler.
If you're listening to this review and you haven't seen the Ultimate Edition, I would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
If you're listening to the review and you have seen the Ultimate Edition, then hopefully you feel the same way. I don't know. It's just to get this out there for posterity as all reviews. But
yeah.
We liked it. I would go so far as give the original star rating that we gave the theatrical cut was 3.5 stars.
Well, and actually in the review, I think we gave it
3.5.
I guess we gave it 3.5. Never mind.
3.5 stars. And I personally would bump this up a half a star up to 4.
Yeah, me too.
This cut
for sure.
You would
for
too?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we'll put out another review badge out there. And it kind of, seeing the film, it's good, but it also kind of makes you angry. You wonder where it all went wrong. Who decided to cut these things? Was it the studio?
It makes you feel bad for like Zack Snyder and Chris Terrio.
It does. And also Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill, especially Henry Cavill.
He did such a good job acting with these additional scenes.
Yeah.
Like, he's a really good actor.
He is a good actor.
Like, even him, like, calling his mom that scene.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, he's a good actor, for sure.
He is. So.
Yeah, it makes me upset.
Somebody needs to lose their job, is all I know.
Like, there's this big creative shakeup now, and so much of it, like, we've been hearing has been, like, negative towards Zack Snyder. But, like, now you almost feel like... You feel like this is the version that was given the standing ovation that they talked about back before the movie was even released.
Yeah.
When they were saying, like, Warner's executives saw the film, they gave it a standing ovation and stuff like that.
And then they're like, okay, now cut out half an hour.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, well, where do you really cut? The end. This is where you cut. That's the answer to that question. The end.
Nightmare sequences.
you could cut down. You could trim a good 5 minutes off of the funeral scene in this extended cut.
Yeah, probably. I had a feeling this was going to happen, though, because, like, Zack Snyder sort of has a track record for, like, making overly long films. It's like the extended version for Watchmen was superior to the theatrical version, for sure.
I liked the theatrical version of Watchmen.
I like both of them. They're both great films. But the director's cut was better.
Do you think... See, now, it's kind of a shame because I bet you it wasn't Zack Snyder's idea to cut these out of the film. It was probably the studio's.
I'm pretty sure.
And now... So, obviously, he had a superior vision of the film. And now he's getting control taken away because of things that they did to his film.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks.
There's no justice in the world.
So, I mean, hopefully, like, I don't know. I almost want to see, as long as it's a lighter tone, I would like to see Zack Snyder's vision for the Justice League. I would like to see him take on a lighter tone for these characters because I think he does have a vision.
He's directing Justice League.
Well, he is, but I mean...
Are you saying you want to see his cut of the film?
What I'm saying is I hope they don't take away too much creative control from him for this Justice League movie.
Seriously, if this happens again with Justice League where there's like an extended, you can't cut a half hour from a film and still have the story make sense. You just can't do that.
Well, you can.
It's not going to be good. You could do it, but it's not going to make sense. Well, and not to say that the theatrical version was... Film. Yeah. And this one definitely suffered for it.
Yes, this one did, yeah.
Story-wise.
Mm-hmm. So,
which, is ultimately, I guess, the ultimate thing we're trying to say is that this one's better than the theatrical version.
Yes. It's still not perfect. I mean, I still wouldn't put it as good as Civil War. I think if you were to compare the Civil War to this extended Ultimate Edition, then Civil War still comes out on top.
Do you think if this version came out in theaters, Batman v Superman would have made more money?
Yes, I do.
You would have had fewer screenings. But I also think the drop-off would have been much...
Yeah, you would have had a better reception. And that's good, always good for the box office.
So I think it would have had like a longer lifespan. Ultimately, I don't think it would have had like record-breaking drop-offs and stuff like that.
Right.
Because that's all word of mouth.
Right.
I think the word of mouth for this film would have been much better if the story was intact.
I think this film could have been as good as Civil War if you would have taken this story and lightened up the tone just a hair.
And gotten rid of the dream sequences.
And got rid of the dream sequences. Then you would have the film that we would have all wanted, I think.
Yeah.
But this is close enough, I think. I'm happy with this film. I'm happy with this film.
I'm really happy with it. And I definitely want others to see it. I'm like...
You should hold screenings.
I should.
Except you can't because that's illegal.
That's right. You'll have to get some, like,
Which
a
means
screening.
you're all going to have to go buy your own copy.
Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, if you want to support Zack Snyder, which I know there's so much hate for him out there right now, but although I have seen, like, a lot of tweets, like, acknowledging the fact that, like apologizing to him, acknowledging the fact that this is a better version. If you want to see more from the DC Cinematic Universe, if you want...
Well, we're going to anyway.
Well, yeah. But, like, if you just want to lend support more towards Zack Snyder's creative vision, because he's proven that it's good, buy the film. Or at least rent it.
Even if you still hate Zack Snyder, because he is still kind of Zack Snyder.
Well, no, did you, read any of the interviews with him? He was, super humble about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying he's a horrible person. He's no Michael Bay. I mean, he's about halfway there, but he's no Michael Bay. But just see it, just rent it.
He's a good filmmaker.
For the better story.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, even if you don't buy it, I encourage you to, even if you don't rent it, whatever.
Watch it on HBO. Watch it on...
Definitely see it. Don't write off Batman v Superman. Don't write it off just because of the theatrical version. Definitely see this version. You owe it to yourself if you're a fan of the characters.
Yeah.
And you were disappointed by the first one.
Yes.
By the theatrical version, I mean.
Yes, absolutely. Totally agree. So, if you want to see your thoughts on the theatrical version, go ahead and check out that review. If you have any comments about the Ultimate Edition, go ahead and let us know. Give us your feedback as well.
Tweet us.
I'm interested in hearing from people who loved it. I want to hear from people who hated it. I doubt we'll find anybody who thought this was a worse version than the theatrical cut. But no matter your opinion of the film, go ahead and let us know what you thought. And
absolutely
through email, dcmarvelbattlecast@gmail.com. You can let us know on Twitter.
Tweet us. Make it public.
Tweet us.
Let everyone,
don't be a coward.
Let everyone know what you think of it.
At DC Marvel Battle is our Twitter handle.
Yeah.
Or you could just comment on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
So
is that.
I don't think there's anything left to say about the Ultimate Edition. So that's it for this episode. Next episode we'll be doing a battle cast. Don't know who yet, but thanks to Enbrook 2011? 2001. I love
that book. I love that movie.
We have a ton of ideas to go with, so we'll choose from there. And that
shouldn't discourage you from sending your own ideas if you have something.
We might get some repeats, but
I guarantee you, and Brooke probably has already thought of it. But send it anyway.
Yeah, we'll credit all of you guys. So, without further ado,
up and away,
true believers.